guys, today I'm going to review The Uninvited.
I'm not afraid of anything here.
Then be afraid. Be afraid for heaven's sake. When you were a little child, the evils of this house reached out for you.
The Uninvited came out in 1944 and was directed by Lewis Allen, and this was his first film as director, and many say it's still his best film. It's based on the 1941 novel Uneasy, Freehold by Dorothy Macardle, and this was published in the US in 1942 under the title The Uninvited. The producer was Charles Brackett, and he wanted Alfred Hitchcock to direct the film. However, he couldn't get it organised. The director also said that the hardest part of the filming was Gail Russell, who kept crying because she was inexperienced. Charles Lang was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Cinematography. However, he didn't win. Joseph Lachelle won for Laura. The song Stella by Starlight became a popular jazz standard and was performed by singers like Frank Sinatra. The music score was by Victor Young. The film runs 98 minutes. Critics at the time found the film genuinely frightening. And this is one of the first films to deal with the supernatural without any silly explanation at the end of the film. These are genuine ghosts. The story was later adapted into 2 radio plays. Ray Milland was in these 2 radio plays, and they're also on the Blu-ray disc. The Uninvited was one of the highest grossing films of 1944. The film stars Ray Milland, Ruth Hussey, Donald Crisp and Gail Russell. So the plot of this film is this brother and sister, they buy this house for a great bargain price, and they find out it's haunted. But it's haunted by 2 ghosts. From the very first shot, you have Ray Milland's narration over this scene of crashing waves focuses on the house. So right from the beginning, you're uneasy. It's kind of like a similar shot that they do for The Haunting, where there's a bit of narration telling you about the house and the past. This film's very similar. And speaking of The Haunting, that's my favourite horror film of all time. And this film's similar. It's got black and white photography. It's involving ghosts and a haunted house. I think the star of this film, though, was the photography, the black and white photography. And it got an Academy Award nomination. It was that good. And it just goes to show how effective black and white films can be. Especially good supernatural films. Stuff like Dead at Night and The Haunting have this like eerie quality about them, and it's to do with the black and white photography. And this film's drenched in atmosphere. There's a certain room in the house that's cold. When people go in it, they don't feel right, they feel miserable. Thought that was really effectively done. There's a great Ouija board scene.
A. R. M.
Carmel.
And I think what's most effective about this film is the crying on a night. When they're in bed, they can hear this woman crying. They're wondering where the noise is coming from.
It's coming from downstairs.
It comes from everywhere and nowhere.
How the hell can all these bloody people stop in bloody haunted houses in these bloody films? If I was in the bugger, I'd shit myself after 5 minutes and then fuck off. It's dramatic license, bones. If they left the house, there wouldn't be much of a film, would there? So Ray Milland is a composer, and that's similar to the George C. Scott film The Changeling, where George C. Scott is like a composer as well in a haunted house. And Ray Milland's character, he has like a romantic attachment to this girl, Gail Russell. And it's interesting because Ray Milland, he was 37 when he made this film, and she's only 19. So there's an 18-year age difference between them. Hey, Phil, how come old fellas can get young lasses in films? It's not like that in real bloody life. Unless they've got money coming out of the bloody arses. And Gail Russell, this is her first film. I thought she was really good. Even though she got a lot of stick off the director. And he made her cry a lot. I thought she was quite good in it. Fancy that poor bloody lass getting bollocked by the bloody director and crying. She should have bloody stuck up for her bloody cell. Tell the bugger to get fucked. The producer wanted Alfred Hitchcock to direct this film. I wish they'd have got him. It would have been one of the greatest horror films ever made if Hitchcock could have done it. And I don't think he would have shown the ghosts at the end. Whereas, like in this film, you see the spirit at the end, and it's a bit of an anticlimax when you see it.
I should think you'll be on your way now, Mary Meredith. We've had enough. We're not frightened of you anymore. From now on, this house is for the living.
Well, I don't think Hitchcock would have allowed them to do that. It would have been a much stronger film if you hadn't seen it. There's a good Blu-ray of the film. Hope you can see it all right. And it's also got the 2 radio productions on it. Milland stars in the radio productions as well. So it's a good quality print of this film. It's like difficult to get a good quality print of it. So overall I thought this film was really good, surprisingly creepy at times for an old film in 1944.
What is it, Lizzie? You hurt?
The studio door. There's something there.
Look, Lizzie, there's nothing there.
It was.
And it's almost a classic film. Just that I'll knock a pint off because it does lag a little bit before the final act. So out of 10, I'm going to give it 9. 9 out of 10. Did you think did you like it? I thought it was a bloody good film, Phil. These bloody films are better than all these bloody modern horror bloody films they make now. Load of bloody shit. Okay everybody, bye. See you next time. Like, subscribe and share. Bye. Bye.
You're still shaking, Rick.
Well, I've had a narrow escape. She might have been my mother-in-law.